Somewhere on your phone, possibly screenshotted, definitely remembered, there's a night you found the calculator. You know the night I mean. Compound interest calculator, some free website you, after one glass of wine, typing in 500 a month, 10%, 30 years. And the screen said £1,000,000, more than 1,000,000. You did it again with 600 a month just to watch the number get sillier. And something in your chest unclenched, because finally, the math said you were going to be fine. That night is why you started investing, and starting was genuinely the best financial decision you've made. Here's what tonight is about. The calculator did not lie to you. Calculators can't lie. But you fed it 3 numbers that night, and 2 of them were fantasy. And an entire community of very confident people on the internet handed you those numbers because the honest ones don't go viral. Let me say the important thing first, loudly, so nobody clips this dishonestly. Index funds are the right answer for most people. Low cost, diversified, boring, the box from episode 8 with the right thing finally in it. If you took nothing from this channel but claim the match, fill the box, buy the world, keep the fees tiny, you would still beat most of the country. Nothing tonight changes that. What's on trial is the arithmetic culture that grew around them. Because the pitch got simplified into a slogan. The market returns 10% a year, just buy the index and you'll be a millionaire. And every number in that sentence has a problem. Start with the 10%. That figure is American, and it's from the single most successful stock market in the history of the world during its golden century. Quoting it as your future is like planning your kid's football career around one specific lad from Argentina. We've seen this import problem before. Episode 11, the emergency fund rule that crossed the Atlantic without changing its money. Same shipment, different box. American numbers quoted in British bedrooms unconverted. You sensibly hold a global fund. The global history is more modest. And second worse, that 10% is nominal. It includes inflation, the leak from episode 8, quietly counted as growth. Strip inflation out, and the long-run real return on global shares, the growth in what your money can actually buy, has been about 5% a year. 5, not 10. And when you typed 10 into the calculator and read the answer as today's money, you double-counted. You used inflated returns and uninflated eyes. The million the screen showed you and the million you imagined spending are 2 different currencies. So let's rerun the famous night with honest inputs and brace yourself. 500 a month, 30 years at 5% real, roughly 400 grand. In today's money, which is the only money your brain can actually plan with. Still a serious, life-changing sum. Also less than half the number that unclenched your chest. The plan wasn't slightly optimistic. It was out by a factor of more than 2. And the averages have a second trick in them, which is that you don't get the average, you get a sequence. The market's 5% real is a long-run slope made of violent zigzags. The American index spent the entire 2000s, 10 full years, going backwards in real terms. Our own headline index took some 15 years to climb back over its 1999 peak. Dividends softened the blow, but the people who started that year aged a decade waiting to feel clever. Now, if a lost decade lands in your 20s, it's a gift. You buy the whole way down. If it lands in the 10 years before your retirement date, the exact same average return, arriving in a different order, can hold the plan below the waterline. The calculator assumes the slope. You will live the zigzag, and the fantasy number makes the zigzag more dangerous, not less. Because when you're privately expecting 10% and the market hands you a perfectly normal, terrible year, it doesn't feel normal. It feels broken. And people who feel their plan is broken sell at the bottom, which is why study after study finds ordinary investors earning a chunk less than the very funds they hold. The gap between the fund's return and the investor's return is paid in panic. Honest expectations aren't just more accurate. They're what keeps your hands still when stillness is the entire job. And there's one more fantasy input, the quiet one. The calculator assumes 500 a month every month for 360 consecutive months. Life does not assume that. Redundancy, kids, illness, a roof. Real contribution histories have gaps, and every gap compounds too. Correct fund, correct discipline, borrowed numbers. That's how a generation ends up doing everything right and still meeting a shortfall at 58, when the one asset you cannot buy more of, episode 5 said it, is time to fix it. So here's the honest rebuild, and it costs one evening. First, rerun your number with real inputs. 5% real for a global equity fund is the defensible center. Type contributions in today's money, read the answer in today's money, no mental currency conversion, no double counting. Yes, the output will be smaller. It will also be true, and true is the only number you can build a life on. Second, don't plan a point, plan a corridor. Run it again at 3%, pessimistic, and 7, lucky. Your future sits somewhere in that corridor, and the honest answer to when can I stop working is a range of years, not a date. Anyone selling you a date is selling certainty they do not have. Third, notice which lever is actually in your hands. You cannot negotiate with the market's return. You can negotiate with your contribution rate, and here's the quietly hopeful maths. In the first 15 years, what the pot grows to is driven far more by what you put in than by what the market does. The standing order from episode 4, the escalation rule, the redirected pay rises, those outvote the return assumption for a decade and a half. The market decides the end game. You decide the opening, and the opening is most of the game. And fourth, as the real date approaches, de-risk the date, not just the fund. That's what the ISA bridge from episode 8 is for, flexibility near the line. So one badly timed crash postpones a plan instead of sinking it. Now the reframe. The index fund community didn't lie to you maliciously. It simplified because simple spreads, and 10% forever fits on a thumbnail. Probably about 5% real, over decades in a wide corridor with a sequence you can't control, does not fit on a thumbnail. But here's the thing about honest numbers. They're not the pessimistic version. They're the load-bearing version. A plan built on 5% real that gets 7 is a glorious surprise. A plan built on 10 that gets 5 is a catastrophe discovered too late to matter. You're not lowering your expectations tonight. You're moving them somewhere that can hold your weight. So here's your one job, and it's the same night that started all this, done properly. Open the calculator. Your actual monthly amount, 5% your actual years. Read the answer as today's money, because now it is. Write it in the note under the others, next to the fantasy number if you can still remember it. That gap between the two is not your failure. It's the correction arriving now, while you have decades to answer it, instead of at 58, when you'd have none. The calculator finally told you the truth. See you in the next one.